Hi, I'm Vanessa Anderson.
And I'm Stephanie Cooley.
It's time to give ourselves a moment to be real, to express all of motherhood.
Mothering is beautiful. It's wonderful.
And you know what? It's fucked up too.
Come hang out with us. We're the real motherfuckers. In one of our episodes, Vacation Without Kids, Vanessa and I chat about a recent yoga retreat. It was peaceful, healing, relaxing, and not to be cheesy, but I'll say it anyway, it was life-changing.
While the retreat is in the past, we are still reaping the benefits today. This was my second year going to Mudra retreats, and they did not disappoint. Everyone involved just gets it.
They think of every detail. The sleepy, calm, and serene beachfront hotel, the food was beautifully presented and delicious.
Oh yes, I miss their hibiscus tea. Our yoga teacher was a true inspiration. Each class with her taught me something different and expanded my curiosity with movement and with mindfulness.
Reach out to us on Instagram, Real Motherfuckers Podcast, if you have questions on the retreat, and we're happy to answer them for you.
Yes, go to www.mudraretreats.com and use our link, RMFP, when you check out to support us. Being disorganized makes everything life and just harder. It just does. Your workday, your home life, your personal relationships. It saps your productivity, makes you overwhelmed, and leads to unhealthy habits.
Perfectly said.
So thankfully, there are ways to avoid it. And the good news is that there's benefits of being organized are not short of exceptional. There's ways to get this done. Yeah. There was this article that I read, and they cleared up some misconceptions about what being organized means. And our guest today will share with you the benefits of being organized and provide some steps towards getting there, and also things you can implement today, maybe small things that can help your life. Mm-hmm. What does organized even mean? What does being organized even mean? So being organized means having a system in place to manage your life is the definition that I saw. That's the first definition that comes up. It goes far beyond mere tidiness and keeping strict routines. It's about being and finding balance and unleashing your full potential. So, are you ready to jump in, Amy?
Yeah.
For our first question here.
Yeah, I love that definition because obviously we're talking to you, Amy, and you have a business in which you help people organize their stuff. But I think we don't realize, or maybe we forget, that organization is about our lives and how we feel inside, and not just about our tangible things. It probably starts with our tangible things, or maybe it's part of the organization feeling that we're trying to achieve. But I love that definition because it kind of redefined or reminded me about like what organization really is.
Yes, and I'm sure Amy has another insight of what it is for her. So I'm really excited to chime her in today. So thank you for being here today and taking the time to help people and talk about this today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So Amy, can you tell us, you have you help people organize their lives. Maybe you can tell us in your own words what you help your clients do.
Yeah, so a lot of times when people reach out to us, they don't even have a goal in mind, and they can't even put into words what they're looking for. They just know they need help. And so part of our strategy is just to meet them where they are. We're completely judgment-free. I mean, just as people in general, but also because we do this all the time. I have a lot of faith in my clients, because if they're getting to the point where they are Googling, organizational help, and then they're reaching out to me, a stranger, and they're inviting us into their home, I know that they are ready to make some big changes. I don't ask a ton of questions. I don't put a lot of pressure on them in any way. We just do what we do, and it helps people feel completely relaxed. If people are feeling threatened or like feeling any sort of pressure, a lot of times that'll result in like not wanting to get organized or part with things that aren't serving them. So I think that even though we're an organizational company and we organized for people. Our goal is just to be like a support company, a people company. We want people to feel good while we're there, and we want them to thrive once we leave.
I love that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of people have come to you. And I feel that about you in general. Like I feel from the
you.
moment I had a conversation with you, I feel comfortable with you. So I could see that
Good.
being your company's motto.
So do you
Good.
find that people come to you for themselves, or do you ever have people who be like, you know what, like my mom has a major problem. Can you help
Yeah.
her? And what do you say to that?
I say, let her be.
Okay.
If people are
Mhm.
wanting it for themselves, we will be there. We will
Mhm.
be there, and we're there to support, and we will make all your wildest dreams come true, even things that you can't even fathom. But if it's for somebody else, a lot of times the language that I will say is let them have their stuff, let them be messy. It There's so much psychology that goes into what we buy, our spending habits, our hoarding habits, our what we keep. There's even a lot of physical limitations, like going through stuff, like separating things, taking things to the Goodwill, putting things in the trash, can be actually exhausting, like truly exhausting. And that's why we come as a team. If I'm sitting with a client and I'm going through one item, I try to make it so easy. Instead of like looking at a billion things, clear it out. I'm like, what about this one item? No pressure either way. And if they say keep, I'll grab it to one of my girls and they'll put it in the right bin. You know what I mean? Like we just like make things so quick so that all they have to do is make that decision. We'll never make a decision for somebody. But if it's like for a relative or somebody like that, I just say it's just not their time unless they want it. And the best thing we can do is just love them and make them feel safe in the surroundings they have until they want to make that change for themselves. But if people love their stuff, just let them have it. There's nothing we can do.
Can you tell us, let's backtrack,
Yeah.
how you started doing this? I mean, it is such an interesting route to go in as a job, is to deal with other people's crap.
Yeah, because most of us don't even want to do it for ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's like for you to be this amazing person to say, man, I'm here to help people out in this situation. It takes a lot of gumption to do that. I feel like cleaning in general.
I don't know why I love it so much. It really lights my soul on fire. My husband and I, we have a full life. We have 5 kids and we have lots of things that we love doing. But this, to me, my company I feel like it's my way of serving my community. It's something that I love doing and I love the impact that it makes. So it's just a way that I only work like once or twice a week. It's not something I even really want to do or could do physically full time. My focus is my family, but it's something that I can't not do. So I started it. I've always loved to clean things out. I do have a parent who, growing up, loved to hoard. And I was always like sort of confused. I was like, we don't need, like, I was like, just like kind of like an innocent kid. I was like, well, let's just throw this stuff away. We don't need it. But I remember, and this is something that I'm kind of teasing out in my own life, is just the psychology that kind of builds within us and how we approach the things that we own. And I remember wanting to get rid of something that had been a gift to me. And I was like, I think I just don't really wear this. I want to get rid of it. And I remember that parent saying to me, like, the words were fine. She said, your grandma gave that to you, which I knew. But the tone was like, your grandma gave that to you. Kind of like the tone was like, you are ungrateful. You are, all these things. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm keeping it. And to this day, I still have trouble getting rid of clothes in my own closet. I'm not a perfectly organized person. And I have my own stuff that I need to take ownership of psychologically that makes me hold on to stuff, because even though I'm great at organizing for other people, it's because I don't have an emotional attachment to it. I can do it so quick and easy. My own stuff, it can, I understand how my clients feel, because it is difficult. It is difficult to get rid of stuff. We have so many layers within ourselves that make it so hard.
Yeah. The emotional attachment to things is real.
Yeah.
And I think that when you said that to me, or to us, remembered this moment that I had a friend over and I received a holiday card with the really nice picture of someone else's family and their smiling faces, and they took time to like put this together and send it to me, and I was like, "Oh, that's so nice." And then I stuck it straight into the trash, and my friend was like, "Oh my god, that's what you do?" I'm like, "Yeah, I
Yeah, I
enjoyed it for
know.
this
It's
moment and then
funny.
I let it go."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people don't do that.
Right. Yeah, and I'm proud of you for doing that. I think that's like I feel like gifts are just a transaction of love. Like you receive that love, you have that feeling, and then you don't really need to keep the gift just because somebody gave it to you. And just, you're not obligated to hold on to something and store something in our limited time and our limited space just because it was a gift,
Mhm.
Like you receive that love. That's what we can carry with us, and we don't have to keep the holiday cards or anything really that we don't want to.
So
Yeah.
my question to you is, what you just explained about what your childhood was like, having someone who had a hard time getting rid of personal items, was that something that really impacted your childhood? And is that what stemmed you to start this business?
That's such a good question, and I don't know. I guess it must have. It must have. But yeah, I think my the girls that work with me and we joke. We get such a high off of like doing what we do. We get so excited. We're like, we don't even need to do drugs because we get
Yeah.
we get so much out of this. So maybe there is a part of my childhood, but I think there's also just at the end of the day, like leaving a family's home and everything's organized for them. The mom is like so happy. She's been stuck for a long time. She's like a frustrated mom, or she's just like all these feelings or whatever. And we leave, and she's just like, I know in my heart, like they're going to be thriving and they're not going to be getting in fights and they're not going to be looking for shoes. And she's not going to be like, where's your shoes or whatever, it's like a tangible way to show up and like make a big life change for people.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel so lucky. I actually went to school to be a teacher, and I was a teacher for a couple years, but I like this so much more.
This is your calling. Well, you are teaching. You're teaching people how to, better
Yeah.
organize their life and their family. And
Right.
all the thing that I read is, and I didn't really realize this until we were going to do this episode, and I was, researching organization, and it's being organized is ultimately about giving you a sense of control, like having a little
Yes.
piece of control in your life. It allows you to be more in charge of how you manage your time, space, priorities, and workflows. So I think this is such a
Yeah.
gift for mothers to have if you're able to have access
Yeah.
to somebody like Amy to be able to, if you don't have the time, um, and I mean, I don't have a big family budget, but I would say, man, I'm even thinking about saving and hiring her because I think I will get back so much time in my life to have
Mm-hmm.
things in place that I won't have to search for it. It'll help me feel less,
Mhm.
cluttered in my mind, and the children will have a system as well. I think it's
Yeah.
great.
And
It's definitely like I mean, obviously it's my company, but I feel like it's especially for families, especially for our modern age where we're constantly being marketed to, and we do get like a dopamine hit from shopping
mhm.
and from receiving things. But in order to get rid of things, we actually can feel a lot of negative emotions like guilt or shame or dread. We get frozen, so there's just layers of things piling up. Um, it's an investment, but I do feel like it's one of the best investments people can make. A lot of times, too, when we're going through stuff, people are like, oh my gosh, I've been looking for that for years, or I just reordered that, or I didn't even know I owned it. Or, we can be so stuck and frozen, and we don't even know what we have. And then we like walk into our garage and we're like, I need to like clean this out. But then you're just exhausted just getting there because we're picking up all this energy from our items, and maybe it's items that we don't want. But there is a tangible relationship between clutter and the stress hormone cortisol with anxiety, with depression. When you go to like an Airbnb and you're just like, "Ugh, there's like nothing
Yeah.
there. And you're like, oh, I feel so good. I
Yeah.
feel so free. You only brought what you have in your suitcase, like your favorite, sweater and maybe your shoes. And you're just like, I'm going to go out. I'm going to go to the beach. Like you just feel so light
Right.
and free, and you're enjoying your life so much more. That's kind of like our goal with what we do, is for people to not use their time looking for stuff, not use their time feeling stressed or depleted or just like exhausted, but life is short.
It is.
And why not enjoy it? Why are we being, burdened by all this stuff that a lot of the stuff that we hold on to truly has no value.
Right.
Like none.
Yeah.
None. Even some of the keepsakes from people or whatever, like ultimately it's not serving us and doesn't add almost anything to our life, which may seem extreme. But with the amount of homes that we've been in, to see like the burden that all this stuff puts on families, I'm kind of at this point where I'm like, no shopping, no extra stuff.
Yeah.
Like, let's just get back to our roots. Let's enjoy our life. And, my kids are growing up fast, and I'd rather, instead of being like, clean your room and let's like clean our whole house or whatever, like, let's go on a hike. Let's spend time together
Wow.
as opposed to living under an avalanche.
You're saying a lot of great things about living our lives, and a lot of it sounds like it's a detachment to our things. And
Yes.
let's talk about that. When you go into a client's home, and it's a stuff problem, and it's also what you bring into your home problem, right? So like you were talking about spending habits, shopping habits, like how do you approach that subject with your clients of like, okay, I'm going to be here to deal with the stuff that you have now, but I can't help you with the stuff you're going to bring in after I leave today. Like, how do you approach the psychology, the habits that these clients have that obviously you need to break in order for this organization to keep up?
Yeah. We don't approach it at all.
Okay.
We actually just try to create like a perfect container for the very small window that we're there. And we have like a specific method of making sure everything in that space is accounted for and wanted. But I do have a lot of clients who love shopping and it brings them a lot of joy. So I'm like, do it, like buy and own whatever you want. That's the one thing that we can't do is decide what they're going to keep or how they're going to live their life in the future. But what we can do is make sure everything that they do own and their space that they're living in now is organized and as perfect as can be.
And something came up for me when you were saying, all this excess stuff and how it makes you feel. We talk about emotional baggage a lot.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, we don't have to answer this, but it's just something to ponder. Does our internal emotional baggage sometimes reflect our external baggage of what we want around us, right? Like the things that comfort us, the things that make us feel safe. For some of us, it is keeping everything and having it pile up because that's safety. For some of us, it is those single cards or items or photos or whatever, but it's an emotional linkage to these things. And that's what the value is to these items. It's not sometimes the dollar sign, it's the emotional baggage we add to these items that we need to keep. And sometimes it depends on what your economic background could have been before you had those items. Maybe you had nothing.
Yes.
And so if you had nothing, everything you have is a treasure,
Yeah. I remember with my grandma, my mom does this too, but like it was very, very noticeable with my grandma who grew up very poor in the Philippines. And we'd be in her house and there's just like stacks of like cardboard boxes, newspapers, all of the things. And it's this scarcity mindset that I always understood, but it drove me nuts.
Yeah. And all of us have a comfort level, like she was saying, and a comfort level of what is clean to us, what is too many things. And I love your approach that you're letting people do it at their own pace instead of getting your own personal, opinion on it. I think that's such an important, safe environment to invite someone into your home to do these things, to have less judgment. And I think that's amazing. So.
Yeah. Like when I'm in someone's home, I don't know everything. I don't know what's valuable to them. I don't know what lights their soul on fire. And the only thing I coach my clients on is just one thing at all. And it's, whatever, like I'm going to ask you a lot of questions today. Like, this item, is it a keep or donate? And I always just say, you don't have to explain anything to me. You just tell me where your hands and feet, just tell me if it's a keep or a donate. And if it's a keep and they want to keep a ton of memories, we're going to put them all in a very special container, a plastic container with a label that says memories. We're going to put a lid on it and we're going to put it on a shelf, and they're going to know where it is, and they're going to have it for as long as they want. So I'm actually not even really a minimalist. I am a very sentimental person. I keep a ton of stuff, and my house isn't always organized, but I know how to make sure the stuff that I do want to keep is safe and accessible and visible so it's not overburdening me. And I have clients that like on every kind of spectrum. I have some people who want to keep every single thing, and we're like, great, we will make it look fabulous. We'll put it in a bunch of shelves, we'll put it in bins, we're going to make it beautiful for you. And then I have some clients who want to get rid of everything to the point where I'm even like, you want to get rid of like this, like, okay, let's do it. Like whatever you want, like, but some people are so minimal and some people are so not. And I love it all. It's all just like, it's all fascinating to me. I don't know, maybe like, I just like love seeing how people work and just making their own personal preferences accessible to them.
Is it her name, Marie Kondo?
Yeah.
She says, does this bring you joy or does it not bring you joy? And I remember never thinking about organization that way until I saw that. I was like, what? So that I imagine that's pretty much, what you kind of ask these people to do. It's like, what is the value of this for you? Right.
Well, I like that.
Right. Yeah. I think too. Okay.
Oh, I was going to say, I like that you said that you like things and you are sentimental, because I think the reason why Marie Kondo, people love her, obviously, like she's helped a lot of people's lives, but I think a lot of people shy away from her or are like, fuck that, I don't want to do that, is because it's so minimal and it seems so unattainable. Like people are like, I like my things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
totally. And I love when people have their own hobbies. Like we did recently my friend's garage, and she's a gardener. So we made like the most beautiful like gardening area with hooks for her gardening bags. Like we can really enhance the things that really make people shine. Like kids areas. I love doing like all the different toys, and we'll put in like cube organizers, and everything's like easy for kids to use. Like it's really not about being minimal. It's just about everything being accessible and stress-free. And a lot of times too, like if I'm doing the decluttering process with a client, if I'm like holding something, I'm like, what about this? And I can like, for how long I've been doing this, I can usually tell within like a millisecond, like how they feel about that item. But I never pressure. I'm never like, get rid of it. Like, because I don't know. And I ultimately, like, I don't care. Like if they love it, keep it. If they don't, like completely up to them. I'm just going to make it happen. But I can usually tell like if there's a pause or if they're like, yes, or, like I can tell like if they're not into it, I'm like, I'll try to massage the air a little bit. If they're like, I'm like, the less pressure I put on them, the freer they'll feel to make a more authentic decision. I'm like, whatever you want. Like we have a place for it. We have a place for all your stuff if you want. But if I'm like, whatever you want, they'll be like, ooh, oh my gosh. And then I think just having us there, like having that support, they feel, it's almost like too, like if it's like, I don't know, like if somebody has been through a divorce and it's like a wedding dress or something like that. And it's like, sometimes grief needs a witness, and we're like, whatever you want, you can keep it for a memory, or I can donate it to somebody. Because there's like people out there in the world who would be so thrilled to have this stuff that's actually causing you a lot of like emotional pain or stress. There's people out there that we donate so much stuff every week into the community, which I love doing. But I'm like, do you want it or not? And just having us there, they'll be like, you know what? I just don't feel like I want it. And we'll cheer for them. We'll be like, go girl, let's do it. Let's get rid of it. Let's move on. Let's step into this new chapter of our life that's not really hindered by our past, but that's magnetic and that's going to bring you exactly what you want. We don't need this stuff anymore. And they're like, you're right, I don't want it, like, so there's like a lot of fun things like through the day where we can really support our clients emotionally and physically.
Yeah. And I was definitely, when you talked about grief, what came to my mind just now was, if a parent has ever lost a child, have you ever had to deal with having to, be there for them to organize or disorganize a room? You don't have to get into specifics, but if that's something that you've had, help someone get through, that must be hard to be there for them.
It is really hard.
So you have had to do it.
It is really hard. But again, and we have done that before. and there is a heaviness that we can handle, and we can show up for them, and we can do this work to help them sort out and clear out and save really precious items in a way that's going to honor their child, and also part with stuff that's not even necessarily honoring them. But we are so honored to help so many people in really tough transitions, and that is one of them. I remember when we first started our company, there was a lot of single women going through really tough divorces that we were just like getting in there and just like it felt so incredible to help women set themselves up for their new life. And but yeah, loss of a child is brutal, so hard, but it's also an honor to show up and help them in such a tangible way.
Wow.
Because it's
I'm
tough.
imagining that you're it's not an organization business, it's a therapy business that you're running.
Yes.
Sometimes, and I actually love that. Like, I'm excited to be on this podcast, and I like talking about it. But I feel like my gift more is actually being like a listener. I really love listening to people, and I love hearing them and cheering them on, and yeah. But yeah, we love to support people, and I think my favorite part about it, yes, I love organizing. And yes, I love working with a team of women, and I love employing people and employing myself. Like such a blessing. It kind of came out of nowhere, but just the feedback I get from like the day after or like the week after or the month after from our clients who are like, my kids are doing better in school, or my husband and I aren't fighting anymore, or things like that. That's kind of like my favorite part about
That's
this.
the magic of why you do it, and
Yeah, definitely.
I've been listening and reading books, and it says, your dream helps other people achieve their dreams. And I feel like this is a really
love
good
that.
example of that. Like your contribution as a human being, you're letting that dream shine. And while you're doing that,
Yeah.
you're helping slowly everyone else with their dream. And it starts with organization, apparently, because I think it's your personal intimacy into someone's home and the energy you're giving them and the love that you're giving them while you're doing it,
Yeah.
that transfers, to the gift that you're giving them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it's like, I think too, it's like, I just feel so like grateful, but also, I mean, just for like people to have us come into their home to the most intimate areas of their life and to trust us that much to like get into everything and like help them. Like, I just feel like this is, I don't know, such an honor. And I feel like it is like I know I need help in my own closet, and I'm still like putting it off. I'm like, I need my own girls to come and like make me do it, but I'm like, oh, I'm just like putting it off. So when people finally like reach out and they're like, I'm ready for the help, I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
It's not gonna it's gonna be a full day. We're gonna be working the whole day, but it's gonna set you up for a lifetime.
Why do you think people put it off? Why do you think we do that?
I think by the time people reach out to me, they're at such a level of overwhelm. Well, it depends. I mean, we do a lot of decluttering, like garages and closets and stuff, but we also do like some fancy stuff too. Like we'll do like fancy luxury pantries and things like that. That's usually an easy one for people. They're just like, I want my pantry to be nice. But if it's like a decluttering one, I don't know. I think I can pick up on like how people are feeling when we get there. Like a lot of times they'll be like, oh my gosh, like I bet your house is so clean and it's so organized compared to mine. I'm like, not really. I got 5 kids running around and they make a mess wherever they go. Today, like every day is like a battle at the end of the day. I'm like, did anyone clean up after themselves? Oh no? Okay. Well, great. Like my house is messy every day, So, yeah. Wait, what was the question?
Why do you think people put off
Why do
organized?
people put it off?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like a certain level of overwhelm that they're just like, they can't even imagine. Or I think it's like maybe they feel embarrassed or they feel like, where do I even start?
Yeah.
But I don't know why people put it off. Probably a million different reasons.
I think it's that, like, where it's having the time to do it in this crazy schedule. When you have children, or even if you don't, if you're, working and you're feeding them.
Yes.
And it's the daily of
Yes.
cleaning your general areas. It's like, I know I
Yes.
organized some stuff myself, but the only reason I did is because I had
Nice.
vacation time. And it's like most of us don't want to do it
We
on
don't want to
vacation.
do that on our vacation.
I know. I don't either. But I happened to have
Yeah.
some extra days, and I was just looking at it, and it was just staring at me,
Yeah.
this room. And I was like, all
Mhm.
right, it's your turn.
Oh my God. You know
You
what? I
know?
take that back. I do want to do that on vacation. That
See?
sounds delightful.
No, it's like really cleared me out. Like
Yeah.
the
It's nice.
pantry, and
Yeah.
then, our linen closet is next. And I'm every time I open it, I'm like, I know. I love you.
I
Love you
know.
too.
Let's just hang out in here, guys. Let's just hang out in
it's
this
like
pantry.
when you are busy as a mom
Yeah.
and you don't have time to wax or
Yeah.
shave your vagina.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Mhm. Yeah. I think it's like, like when you're a mom and you're working, it's like you got your own priorities to get through the day, and it's like dishes and dinner and, like everything else you're kind of blind to just to like survive, So
Yeah.
I think a lot of things we can be very, very blind to. And then when we get there, we like pull everything out. That's kind of like part of the process, pull everything out. And people are like, I had no idea I owned this
Yeah.
much stuff. But that's like the first moment of like where people click in and they're like, all right, I have all this stuff I didn't even know because I've been blind to it because I'm in survival mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time to get organized. I didn't even know I had all this stuff.
Totally. And
that's when
I totally agree with you. And I noticed I was emotionally balanced and energetically balanced myself. And then I was ready to organize. If I was drained or
mhm.
tired or not
Mhm.
in the mood to give, I was not going to be doing it.
Yeah.
You have to
Yes.
be like in a like certain frame of mind
Right.
to do it, right?
you gotta have a lot of energy too, because it's also easy to like start and get everything out and then be like,
Ugh.
Oh my God. Yeah.
shoot,
Now I
can't
have to
finish
deal with
This
this.
is the worst.
Yeah. Now let's deal with this
Yes.
pile of crap
or
I
even
put
like
in here.
making piles. Yeah, even making piles in your own home, and then you're like tired, and you're like, oh, just put it all back. Like it can be like so taxing
Yeah.
for sure to do your own.
Well, you did your sauna. That was your storage.
Oh my gosh. So we redid all of our closets, and I was going to like declutter and like be mindful of what I was going to take out of each closet. But I was like, if I'm going to do it's never going to happen. So I just like took all the crap out and then shoved it into our other closet that's not going to be used, or it was a sauna. And I left it there for like 3 solid months.
I know. Because I was like, you should use your sauna. And then she took a picture. She's
I
like,
took a picture.
can't.
I'll actually, well, my husband's probably going to die if I post that picture. But it was just like just like up to the ceiling of just stuff, which, I mean, like, can you tell us about some notable or memorable clients you've had that, like maybe some before and afters of like, what was it like? What was the feeling? Do they have stuff to the ceiling? Do they have like, what are the types of clients you have, and maybe some stories that you can share about like the experience that you've had of organizing their lives?
Yeah, I mean, we always keep, obviously, like all our clients, like very like private, like it's like a very like private situation. But in general, I know it's actually like so sad. Like one of our earliest clients, she was going through the ringer, like divorce and breast cancer and all these things. Like she physically couldn't take care of her stuff. So I feel like with clutter, it's not really about like how much, it's just like about layers. Like there's like layers here and then there's more layers, like just like a ton of layers of stuff, So she had probably 3 or 4 or 5 years of just layers of stuff, because with the medication she was on and the transition she was going through, she couldn't even go in there. And we, once in a while, we really deal with some really almost like toxic stuff, which is fine. We're not afraid of it. But clearing that stuff out, it was actually kind of like a miracle day. I remember that one. She needed to move. She needed to downsize. She was going from like this really big, nice house to like a really small apartment, because that's where her new finances needed to be. And I remember it was like a Wednesday. It was like a midweek, And I was like, there's just no way we can get rid of all this stuff without some community support or something. So I was like, okay, we pulled everything out, and she's like, I don't want any of this. Like, and she had like a 3-car garage. I think we'd only pulled out enough of one, and it was just like so much stuff that like, I'm like, we're going to have to come back every day for a week unless we think of something. And I'm like, I want her to just be done in a day. And so I was like, well, I was like, we have to do a last minute garage sale. We need to do it like right now. And she was like, let's do it. So I took a bunch of pictures, put it on Craigslist, put it on, Facebook Marketplace. And I was like, garage sale, everything's for pennies, because hiring a junk haul remover service is like hundreds of dollars, like $300, $400, $500. But if you have a midweek garage sale, people are paying us money, and we're like collecting all this money for her, which ended up paying for all our services, but also cleared out all the stuff. But I remember there's so many people, and people came with huge trucks and trailers, and they were just getting all of her stuff. And I remember there was this like weird couple, and they had these like all these puppies with them, and they were like tweakers, and they were like trying to steal. You know what I mean? They were like, oh my gosh, like trying to distract us and like saying all this weird stuff. And I'm like, you think you're stealing from us, but we don't want any of this stuff. So like, do your thing. And that, like, I'm like, I see everything you're doing, but you're really only helping us. So if you feel a high off of stealing from us, you're helping, serving this lady. So take it. But I remember feeling like really sad at that. Like once it was done, everything was cleared out. We like cleaned the floor. We cleaned out the fridge. Like it was like night and day, And then all of her bedrooms too were just like full of stuff. She had this gorgeous home. And I just remember thinking like, and I think about this once in a while, I wish we could have gotten there 2 years prior. I wish we could have gotten there, cleaned everything up before it was an emergency, before she had to move, because she has this huge, beautiful home. We could have cleaned everything out. She could have rented out all those full bedrooms, and probably made a full income for herself and been able to keep the house. You know what I mean? That's something that I feel very protective of is in people's homes is like, I mean, all of us who live in California, it is not cheap to own a home. And a garage especially is like such a huge part of our initial investment in owning a home. And for some reason, myself included, we think of it as just kind of like a trash heap. When really, it could serve us in a million different ways. Like we have a lot of people, like once we clean things out, they put in a gym or they put in a sauna or they rent it out. Or, there's so many really tangible, beneficial ways that our home can serve us. But because we collect all this stuff and then we feel too guilty or overwhelmed or burdened to get rid of it, it's like there's such like an opportunity cost to life. Yeah. And so that was one of our very first clients when we had that miracle day of everyone just like clearing stuff out. She didn't have to pay any junk haul removers. She ended up not even having to pay us because the garage sale covered it all.
That's awesome.
But feeling at the end, like she was like crying. She was like, you girls are like miracle workers, blah, blah, blah. I was like, good. But also feeling that bit of sadness. Like I wish we could have been there earlier. Like her life could have been a little bit better, easier if we could have been there earlier. Yeah. Junk's a big deal. It really can bring people down.
It can. I also have another question, and I'm using like my Hollywood side of my brain here. But has there ever been?
Where is this question?
Has there?
I love a Hollywood brain.
You know how we like imagine something like it's possible. Have you ever gone into a home and it be like spooky? Like have spooky vibes where you're like,
well, you said something, you saw toxic things.
Yeah. Toxic things just means like rotten food.
Oh, okay.
And like,
literally. Yeah.
And like a lot of like, I mean, we like dead mice, which I don't deal with. That's like my big fear, but my girls can handle it. Yeah, no, nothing too spooky. And if I did feel like a spooky vibe, I'd just ignore it and clear it out.
Get your sage.
I would leave and go home after.
Get your sage.
What?
Get your sage. Do you guys?
Oh yeah.
Do you guys do any of that?
Absolutely.
Do you guys ever say, hey, can we light some essential oils, or can we light? Do you ever do any of that stuff, or is that not your own?
No, we don't. Okay. We just a lot of times just bring everything outside into the sun, into the light, and I don't know. Just I feel like just our energy and us being there is like the sage. I mean, maybe I should bring some, but no, I don't.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't know if you were like, clearing somebody's house and say someone passed. See, this is where it's Hollywood. someone's passed and you're in their room and maybe they passed there and maybe you feel a little something or like something's a
Yeah.
little off. You know, you never know. There is something to that.
Yeah.
I'm crazy like that, but I've been in rooms where people have, and I'm like, man, I feel off. Like I just feel like something's staring
Yeah.
at me.
Do you feel that energy when you first, like when you go into these homes, and how do you
I do
compartmentalize
when I'm
that?
in my like, yeah, I do when I'm in my like personal
Yeah.
life. I really do. But when I'm at work,
You
no.
like shut
I
it
just
off
That's
a
get
what
little
you need
there
to
bit.
and we're
do.
just like,
Yeah, you're in work mode. It's kind of
yeah,
like shut off.
I feel like we bring like a lot of like calm intensity.
Yeah.
So like whatever spirits are there, they're probably like, oh shit, like these girls are gonna
They're
shake it
gonna
up.
fucking
So
Ghostbuster this shit. We gotta get out of here.
Okay.
yeah.
So a lot of moms are listening to this are being like, okay, yeah, what can I do now? Like,
Yeah.
I have
I
and
would
also
say,
it's like we as moms live in organized chaos. Okay. So like
yes.
you have 5 kids. You know how this goes. We have kids, multiple kids. We have animals. We have life happens and it can't look like a fucking Instagram picture all the
Mm-mm.
time.
Mm-mm.
How do you have any tips on like how to manage that? Maybe it's a mindset. Maybe it's actually dealing with your stuff in a certain way. What do you say to moms listening who want to have like a nice balance of like being okay with their mess and also like being somewhat organized?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I say start small. Start small. So here's I'm going to give 2 like real
Okay.
tangible ways to start small. If you're just like, oh, like this feels right. I know I'm being burdened. I do feel stressed out. I feel myself numbing out on my life, like on my phone or whatever, because I'm like so stressed by my clutter. If that's you, I'm going to get like, you don't have to do it all. You don't have to do everything. I think one easy thing would be like a Target or a grocery shopping bag. Okay. And you just pick one room and you fill it up and with either trash or donations or just mix it together. We donate so much stuff to thrift stores and we are very eco-friendly. But if you're suffering right now, that's actually not good for the earth either. So fill it up with donations, fill it up with trash, just like maybe do your kid's bedroom. It's going to be like actually so easy. You're like, no. Do it when your kids are not there because your kids will be like, oh my gosh, no, I like need this like broken crayon. Like I need, like they just like get insane.
Yeah.
Kids don't know. Kids don't know what they need. They don't. And they always thrive so much better in a clean and organized space. So you got to just like wait till they're gone, get on your, tough, like, I can do this, like, whatever. Fill up one, not a huge trash bag. Like, even that's like, if that's too much to think about, a small shopping bag, fill it with trash, fill it with junk. Donate it if you want. Like if it's old stuffed animals or old coloring books, like donate it if you want. But if you just need to put it in the trash, just do it because this earth is going to do better if you're thriving as a person and you're not overbuying or doing random stuff because you're kind of stuck. Just throw it in the trash. Or here's another thing you do. Just pick an arbitrary number. Let's just say it's the number 7. It could be like, I don't need to like overthink it. I don't need to like, oh, like what should I do? Like I need to like think about this or that. Just pick the number 7. Walk in, be like 7 items. 7 items. Okay, 1 is done. Okay, I only have 6 more. 2, 3, blah, 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 7, and get rid of it. And a lot of times that's kind of like gonna get you into this momentum. You're gonna feel a difference, and you're gonna feel it in your emotions. You're gonna feel it in your body, and you can build on top of that. Another thing to do is instead of a whole bedroom or a whole garage or whatever, just start in one junk drawer.
Oh,
Junk drawer is fine.
yeah. A damn junk
And
drawer.
set yourself up for success. So get a box. We all have Amazon boxes, okay? Or get a plastic bin, whatever. Just get a box. Just get a box. Pull out the junk drawer and dump it out, okay?
The whole
Now
thing?
everything's out
Don't
of there.
even go
It's
through
like,
it?
ooh. No, I mean like you are going
okay.
to, but just right now you just got to get it out.
Let
Okay?
the drawer be
Because
clear.
once it's
Yeah.
like when it's in the junk drawer, it's camouflaged, like we don't even like what's in there. We don't know. Like we just close it, get it out, pour it out. And then it's like, oh, like oh, we're all out here and now you have to see me. And we're like, oh, I don't even like this stuff. Like, ooh, like what am I thinking? Then this is the next step. And this is not hard. Okay. You just poured everything out. 2 different containers, which is either your trash can or put it back in the drawer. Trash can or back in the drawer. Okay. That's it. So you just pick up one item at a time. Like, let's say it's you find a jar and you're like, keep or donate, keep or trash. And you're like, trash. You know what I mean? Like, just a simple trash or keep. That's it.
Okay.
One item at a time. Don't look at everything. That's when you get overwhelmed. Yeah. Have it in your box, and then you just like pull out one item. You can handle one item. Trash or keep. Right. It's pretty simple. It's easy. Just don't get yourself stressed out. If you can stay like regulated and calm, and you can give yourself just one item at a time, you're going to feel so good.
Yeah.
And there's going to be mostly trash in there anyway, at least 50%.
Okay, so wait, do you have a junk drawer at home?
Yes.
How many?
I feel like I only have one drawer in my kitchen island.
Oh.
And it's like
the catch-all.
The whole thing is, yeah. I mean, it's like I have the right containers in there, and it's okay. But I don't know, with all my kids, because like I have my kids do like a chore every day, and so if I'm like clear and wipe the island, they just shove stuff in there.
Yeah.
You know, which is fine because I'm not just asking them to do that. But I don't know, I could probably clean that thing out once every 2 weeks and find junk. You know?
Totally.
So
do you have a Monica closet?
That's just life.
You watch Friends? Monica, she has that one horror closet that we all did not think she would have.
with the presents.
Yeah, she'd open it, and it's like, well, it kind of looked like my sauna when I was doing that. Yeah.
Well, I think that's what I mean. That was her emotional closet, right? Yeah. That was her little alter ego. Do you have that?
I mean, yes and no. I do. I mean, I don't know how. I feel like it's so weird nowadays because like every birthday party my kids go to, they're coming home with stuff. Every holiday, like it used to just be like Christmas, you know, but now it's like every Easter and Valentine's Day, and you know, like every holiday there's just like I just feel like there's like a constant flow of items in, but we're not necessarily trained how to flow things out, so it just all gets stuck. So yeah, I mean, it just depends on the season of my life or the day of the week, but yeah, I feel like we all of a sudden have all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, we gotta get through it. We gotta throw this stuff away. How did we get all this stuff? I don't feel like I'm a huge shopper, but stuff just piles up, and I think that's just the reality of our modern day.
Yes.
And that's why we're here, because I don't think it's natural for us to have this much stuff. I don't think any generation ever, like prior to maybe this one and maybe like our parents, like had to deal with this amount of stuff. And I don't think it's innate within every person to know how to deal with clutter and to know how to get rid of stuff or how to organize it. I feel like it's just not natural to our human nature.
I absolutely agree with you. And I think it's really cool. And I'm noticing that, and I keep going back to this, but the reflection of what you own and how you feel, you know, and really checking in. So if I'm like, damn, shit's getting crowded around here, I have to really realize, is it crowded inside of me?
Yeah.
How am I feeling emotionally right now?
And
you know?
all the stuff you're allowing in, you know, when you put all that stuff in your shopping cart and you let it come to your house. I mean, like, you're in business because all of the online shopping is crazy right now.
Yeah,
you know,
it's easy to be.
Well, I mean, it gives us dopamine.
Right.
Like it lights up our brain to shop and to buy and to get stuff. And then, I mean, I know Target too. Like they make us buy stuff, especially for our kids. A lot of times we won't buy stuff for ourselves, but they're banking on the fact that when we go to Target, we're going to get an ego boost about buying things for our kids because it's like, we're a good mom.
Oh my gosh,
So a lot of our spending habits are so subconscious to who we are, and we're buying all this stuff when we could instead keep track of what we already own and what they have and be like, no, I'm a good mom no matter what. I know I'm a good mom. Like, I don't need to buy this random crap that's not helping us just so I can get that dopamine hit.
Yeah, and I think, you know, this episode is airing, you know, a few weeks after the holiday season, and, you know, there's some stuff that was given to us or our kids that might not be used, and I think you made a good point to saying, you know, it's okay to let go of things. It's okay to donate these items that you will not use, or like your card. Now
Sorry,
I know.
everyone.
Yeah.
Now,
you
now
give me
I
a
know.
holiday card, I'll
Now
enjoy.
I know when I spend the 30 minutes to write you a card, you're going to enjoy it for a minute. And I'm glad I didn't give you one this year. Fuck that. I gave you my words.
See, we could all be saving money by not giving gifts too.
Oh man, I try to
just
implement that every year. I mean, like, I have a shopping, bringing stuff into my home problem that I'm like very thankful that we're talking to you because it's such a great reminder. Like when I was writing the questions for this, I'm like, oh my God, I have
Yeah.
to deal with my own self
Yeah,
when I think about
exactly.
this.
That's
you know?
exactly. Exploring this
Absolutely.
episode was
There are
great.
so many, I mean, myself too, there's so many layers of our psychology that either a scarcity or trying to build ourselves up that have to do with acquiring items.
Yeah, or keeping up with the Joneses. You know, it's stupid.
Yeah, and it really affects us so negatively. Actually, a big part of my job sometimes is like while we're organizing for people is calming down like marital fights.
Yeah.
That people, like while we're organizing a garage, if they're both with us, which I actually love when they're both with us, but like they'll be like, once in a while they'll be like, well, you're a hoarder. And they'll be like, no, you're a hoarder. No, you are. And I'm like, guys, no one's a hoarder. You're both doing great. You guys can keep whatever you want and just like focus on your own stuff and let's have a good day.
Oh, yeah.
So
focus on
a
your
lot of our
own
clutter,
stuff.
a lot of our stuff.
That's a good thing to remember.
Focus on your own shit.
Yeah.
Always focus on your own stuff.
Yeah.
We can be so empowered to just take into account, our own stuff. And a lot of times too, for some reason, like especially as moms, like we are either going to be thriving in our homes or not, depending on clutter. So a lot of women will reach out to me. They're like, I want this so bad, but my husband won't let me. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Is he the one like parenting all day and cooking all day and doing all this stuff? I'm like, do what you want, but I don't know why. Once in a while, husbands are like, oh, we can do it ourselves. And then they email me like 2 weeks later and they're like, my husband tried, but he actually couldn't. So
make those motherfuckers try. And then they'll say, here's the check. Let's have Amy come.
Yeah. And then it's always like the husband ends up loving it the most. I was at this one, it was like maybe in November, I was cleaning it out. And the husband was like, I don't know if you like it, to the wife, if you like it, whatever. And then I saw him like a week later. He was like, this has been the best choice for our family ever. Like, you are worth your weight in gold. I was like, you could have, you're right. I mean, you could have supported your wife a little more. Jeez.
So if wives out there that want this service, maybe you should have your husbands listen to this episode.
Or just make them take on the task of trying to organize themselves.
Give them a date. Say, hey, by, whatever date this podcast airs, if you hear it, say, in 3 weeks, if our stuff's not organized when we do it together, let's call in a service. Give yourself an expiration date. Because if it's not going to happen, then it's not going to happen.
Well, and also, we're not trying to say, everybody, you got to work with Amy.
No.
And obviously, yes, this would be nice if you guys worked with Amy. But I think that this is a message that's reminding all of us that it's okay to get help. And we should get help.
And don't be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Don't be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure.
I agree with that one.
Okay. So do you always have the pressure to have an organized home because you have this business?
No.
Tell us why.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's not my home is as organized as it's going to be depending on the season of my life. It's just not attached to my ego. Like my home's not really like attached to my ego.
I love this.
I really, with my company and with my home, I really value people and relationships. And so if people want to come over, see my home, they're welcome. If it's messy, I don't give a rip. If it's messy or if it's disorganized, like it's not like, and nobody cares. And I feel like both of you and me, like if someone were to invite us to their home and it was messy, we would be like, great.
Yeah.
Like I feel more comfortable.
Right.
Like
exactly.
Just I feel like authenticity, like our authentic self, that's all we're looking for is human connection and people being authentic. Like if I go to someone's house and it's like so perfect and the person's like stressed out because they like stress themselves out cleaning and they're barking at their kids, I'm like, you can pick up on that vibe.
Oh my God, I'm so guilty of that. Before people come over, I'm like, we gotta make this house look like nobody lives here.
Oh yeah, me too. And I was raised that way. I was raised to have a very clean home. Like that it is. But I'm slowly striving for what you just said, Amy, for me to not be emotionally connected to my home, not to the point where it gets gross or, I don't work on it, but where it doesn't attach to my ego. Because guess what? when I move out, someone else is going to do something else to that house. It's not going to be mine. And guess what? Before I bought my home, somebody else owned it too. It's whether you pay a mortgage or not, or you're renting, you're still a renter, even if it's your mortgage. You're here for a short time. You're here to, like she said, enjoy your life, enjoy what brings you joy. And I think that will translate back to your home if you're doing those things. There will be a moment to clean. There will be a moment to do all those things. But if you're not enjoying life and you're focused on all your stuff, you're not living life. You're just buying stuff or, stuff.
Just buying stuff.
Yeah. So
that's so well said. Yeah. My living room that I have, it is like, it's pretty minimal. So like people come over, they can just like hang out in there, But yeah, I mean, people do say that though. Like once we clean everything out, they say like, oh, I can host more. I can have more like human relationships. I can whatever. I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, I think we can't discount the effects of marketing. Like people, like marketers, there's like billions of dollars like tapping into our psychology, making us, fascinated with this specific item or just purchasing and feeling good. Like we can't be hard on ourselves just because we have stuff. We can't be hard on ourselves because it's hard to get rid of stuff. Like that's all like huge, deep issues that are hard to grapple with. So, I think just starting small, throwing away a couple of things here, a couple of things there, you're going to feel that boost. And less items around you, you're going to feel freer. You're going to feel less stressed. I mean, you can always hire us. We can get it all done for you and do it really quick and fun and easy. I do think we have fun when we're working. Like when the team and I go, like we'll make sure people are having as much fun as they possibly can. But yeah, like I said, life is short and relationships are really going to be what carry us through our life. And they say the healthiest people at the end of their life are the ones who have the best relationships. So it's a great way to invest in that.
I so
Love
agree
that.
with you.
Yeah.
So agree with you. So
should we go to the last three?
Yeah.
Okay.
So these ones were meant to be answered in a minute or less, and it could be even a word.
Okay.
The first one is, what is the baggage you are working with to unpack? And this refers to the burdens you carry that may prevent you from moving forward, or the negative thing you carry from your past. And you're the first guest to answer these questions.
So this used to be
in your purse?
Well, this used to be a fun one with like, what's in your purse and what does it say about you? But I feel like it would be better if we went in a different bag route where
with you.
And we're doing this starting and moving forward in 2024. It's like what's the baggage that you've been carrying with you all your life that you always are working on?
Unpacking, and we all have it.
Yeah.
You're the
I have a really woo-woo situation that I'm going to share really quick. I mean, it's a little vulnerable to me, but I also don't care. I organized actually for a mom that I know, and she was just like, she's a really good friend of mine. I organized her kids' room, and it was so impactful. It was so fun. We had the best time. And she was like, oh, I'd love to do an angel reading on you. And I was like, and my husband and I have done tons of therapy, tons, because we have 5 kids and we have 3 of them are adopted from difficult places. So we've done so much therapy. But she's like, I'm going to do an angel reading on you. And I was like, oh, that's okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine. She's like, no, really? Like, she's like insistent, She's like, no, really, I really want to do this angel reading on you. I was like, she's like, to pay you back. And I was like, all right, I'll do it, And she did this like reading on me in my heart, and everything was right. It was super woo-woo, okay?
Yeah.
But it was like she went into my heart, and she's all, I see at the top half of your heart is just the joy of life. You love to have fun. You love life. You love people. It's great. But the bottom half, you have abandonment. And I was like, that's weird. I kind of like do identify with that, even though I was never abandoned. But my grandma was. She was adopted. And my dad was. And she's like, oh, yeah, well, it can like pass through that line. And so she cleared it. I feel like this is just a couple months ago. I feel like a brand new person. So that's a baggage. And it really like showed up in my life in so many weird ways. But now I'm in a vacuum of not feeling that way anymore.
Yeah.
And
well, you adopted 3 children.
So grounded.
And you're helping,
their
abandonment.
Damn.
Yes.
Dang.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, my husband and I are very connected to like not just our kids, but like a lot of like different like people and groups that are like orphan and orphan care. But yeah, so that's my baggage that I said goodbye to late last year, and I'm in this like beautiful sunshiny new place. So
Love it.
I'm so grateful. I'm feeling like so amazing in my life right now.
That's awesome. I thank you for being honest about that. And
Yeah.
I like woo-woo stuff. I
Yeah,
love
we
it.
do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
What or who inspires you? That's the second question. And that's a wide question, but it doesn't have, this has no hierarchy by the way. It doesn't mean it's the most important thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Okay. Okay. What or who inspires me? Probably all the girls that I employ, because they're way better organizers than me. They are just the best, they are the best organizers, and they're so kind and they're so loving. And I'm like usually managing like all the people and the things or whatever, but the way they show up and do their, I guess the people that, and then also my mom is like so inspiring to me. She's so grounded and loving.
Perfect. Last question is, when did you fuck up as a mom, and what did you learn from it?
Oh my gosh. Well, as I mentioned, we've done tons of therapy because we had to. I am so grateful, though. I feel like they've been such a catalyst in my husband and I's healing. And I think we were preemptively dealing with some issues that could have been coming down the line, but we learned a lot about trauma, and we learned a lot about trauma therapy. And we were doing that learning for our children, but then we also ended up doing it for ourselves. So what could have been us feeling so victim-y or like overwhelmed or whatever, we ended up being so empowered and doing so much internal work. But that said, anytime now that I'm like have learned how to like regulate my nervous system and be like almost like unflappable to my kids, I truly wish I could go back in time and have done this work before I even had kids. But they're the catalyst, right? So I wish I would have never been an overreactive parent or upset about silly things. But the truth is, I have been in the past. And I have operated out of fear. And I've operated in ways that I'm like, oof, I do not like that. But thank God for the smorgasbord of opportunities for all of us as adults to heal, process our own traumas, process our own childhoods, and the things that aren't serving us anymore. Because we've processed out a lot, and I'm so much better for it. So I'm grateful that my kids have been my guiding light in that. But it's also like such a night and day difference of like how I am now to how I was and then needed to get therapy. So yeah, anytime I've ever been angry, upset at my kids, I regret.
Mm-hmm.
And therapy's been the way that you've been working with it, which is so cool. I love that. And I think you made a great point that a lot of our anxiety and our reaction doesn't come just because it's stored in our nervous system. It's the childhood of the yelling that happened, or if you were hit, it triggers you because you're trying to resist it. But in resisting it, you're giving a quarter of it back maybe. So
Yeah.
it's natural. Thank you for being vulnerable and answering that question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you in general. This was
This
so
was
fun. I've never met anyone
Yay.
that does this as a profession. And when I found out that you did this, I was like, oh my God. I was fascinated.
I admire your approach to it, your just lively personality toward it too. You work in a business where things weigh you down, but I feel like your personality brings people up.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Aw, thank
and I'm
you.
looking at it
That's
in a
the best compliment ever. So thank you so
Yes.
much. Yeah.
Well, good thing it's
we love the
recorded,
people who
so
reach
you
out
can
to
always
us.
listen to it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Amy. We feel like we cut you off. You said you were for us to reach out to you.
No, that was just, I don't know. That was such a generous, kind thing to say. And yeah, if people at the end of the day can do this really hard work of sorting through stuff and they can still feel like incredible about themselves and like excited about their life moving forward, then I have the best job in the world. And I do feel like that for myself.
Oh, well, thank you for giving us another outlook on this. And I will be clearing my junk drawer possibly this afternoon.
Oh, yes.
And I will take pictures.
Grab that Target shopping
And
bag.
I will tag your business saying you are my inspiration.
Should we all post a picture of our junk drawers?
I think maybe. Mine might be embarrassing though, but I don't care. I'll do it. I've done
That's why we do
embarrassing
it.
things on this
It's not
shit.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's not embarrassing. It's real.
It's real.
No.
I can't.
Yeah, it's real.
See? All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure, ladies. Thank you.
If you'd like to keep up with the latest, see more shenanigans, or just connect with us, go to Instagram where you'll find us at Real Motherfuckers Podcast.
And also, if you'd like to see some real juicy mama boobs, you can see it in action on YouTube, also at Real Motherfuckers Podcast.
And enough with the free Costco samples.
You can start paying up. Actually, you can also just support us monetarily on Patreon, where you'll get some more cool exclusive content. And you can find us there at
Real Motherfucker Fuckers Podcast.
We fuck up on this show.
Yeah.
Nothing's perfect.
Hence the name.